Hey everybody, I think many people know sweets like Ferrero Rocher. We decided to make one such candy, but of gigantic size. Let's see what's inside at first. It has chocolate with nuts on the outside, then a crispy layer, chocolate paste and hazelnuts. Everything's clear. To begin with, we will buy the groceries we need. We bought milk chocolate, a lot of sugar, 2 boxes of cocoa powder, 2 boxes of butter, 5 kilograms each. We don't need anything else in the store, so we go to the checkout. Our check came out to $190. We also bought a bag of crispy rice, 10 kilograms of peanuts, and a bag of hazelnuts to order. All this cost around $136. We decided to use such large iron cauldrons as molds. For convenience, we bended the fasteners and removed the handles. We turn the cauldrons over, wrap them with cling film. To make a crispy layer, we'll use the rice. It's as crispy as possible. To get that to stick together, we'll make a caramel. We send half a can of corn syrup into a saucepan, 6 kilograms of sugar. We put that on the stove. Be sure to use a candy thermometer. The temperature needs to reach 146 degrees. Pour out the airy rice and mix that into the caramel. We'll pour this whole mass on top of the mold and try to stick it to the whole cauldron. And this is where it all went wrong. The caramel cooled down really quickly and is falling apart, and it doesn't hold its shape at all. And so this is difficult to call these cauldrons normal forms. We decided to redo everything. We ordered acrylic semicircles. We opened them up. And take them out. I think that this is perfect. So to keep everything from sticking to the molds, we spray with oil from a can onto the inner walls of the circle. This time, to get the rice to stick, we'll use marshmallows. We put 2 packs in a bowl and put that into the microwave. They melted down pretty well. It turns out the consistency of an elastic cream. We put the air rice in the same bowl. Combine all this with a spatula. We're left with a viscous mass, and I think we'll be fine with it. Spray some oil onto your gloves so that the marshmallow doesn't stick. And send this mass into the bowl. Now distribute it all around the form. And we continue to do this until we cover the inner walls completely. Done. The next stage is the chocolate paste inside. We take 2 boxes of butter, take them out, and put 2 sticks into a saucepan. We put it on the stove so that it melts. And done. Now we need a lot of condensed milk. This one we have left after the last video. We need peanuts and cocoa. Put the blender bowl on the scales and put 300 grams of peanuts into it. 2 tablespoons of cocoa. We open 2 cans of condensed milk. And pour those in as well. And last but not least, 200 grams of butter. Cover that with a lid and put it into the blender and turn it on. We grind this until we get a homogeneous mass. The consistency of the paste, like Nutella, is quite dense. Using a spatula, we shift the paste into the bowl. We keep repeating this from time to time. And after about 6 hours of work, the condensed milk, butter, and almost all the nuts are finished. And the forms are even less than half full. I had to buy all the groceries again. We continue making the chocolate paste. Now, once the forms are completely filled, it took 8 hours. And finally, this stage is finished. The next layer is the whole nut. We need to make 2 huge halves of hazelnuts. We'll use a lot of this nut. Now, the hazelnuts are raw and don't really smell. To fix this, pour it into 2 baking sheets and pop them in the oven. Let them warm up for 20 minutes to release their fragrance. To hold the nuts together, we'll cook another caramel. The composition is exactly the same. Corn syrup, a packet of sugar, and water. Pop all that on the stove, and be sure to use a candy thermometer. As soon as it's 145 degrees, we take out the finished nuts and put them into the saucepan. Mix them well with the caramel. We move this over to a bowl, which is the same shape as our hemisphere. Done. As soon as the caramel is hardened, we remove the bowl and tear off the parchment paper. We're left with a perfect half of a huge nut, or rather 2. Just put them in the middle of the mold into the chocolate paste. We spread the paste with a spatula so that there's a layer of the same height everywhere. Now this candy is very soft, and if you take it out of the mold, it'll just fall apart. So we send these semicircles into the freezer. That's where they're cooled down, and the chocolate filling will become dense. 2 days later, and the candy is completely cooled. Before you get to it, you need to prepare a lot of things. First, make the packaging. We bought this kind of packaging gold paper. To repeat the design, we crush it with our hands. Then we straighten it back. We unwind the double-sided tape and glue on another sheet. We have 6 in total, and we want to combine them into a huge one. Done. This second stage. For our future outer layer, you need to add nuts. Everything is simple. Put them into a blender and crush until you get like an average fraction. Pour that into another bowl. The third preparatory stage. We take a chocolate bar, open it, and break it. We fill the whole bowl with these pieces. Now we'll melt this in a steam bath. It decreases in volume, so we break more. And that's it. We have a bowl of hot chocolate. Now for last. Make some more chocolate paste in order to glue the halves together. We need to wrap the table well with cling wrap. Finally, you can bring the chilled halves back for the candy. We cut off the protruding air rise. Turn the form over. That's one half. Now for the second one. Thank God everything went well and nothing cracked. Spread all this over with a layer of chocolate. The easiest way is to pour the chocolate directly from the layer and spill it with a spatula. Now sprinkle the crushed nuts on top until they stick to the whole candy. And we put another layer of chocolate on top of that. We mix it with the nuts directly with a spatula so that it looks just like the original. Done. It turned out perfectly. And we repeat all this for the second half. As soon as the chocolate is frozen, we cut the food film off and put one half onto a board. Remove the cling wrap and apply the chocolate paste to glue the candy halves together. We put the second one on top. Everything is almost ready, and I feel like this is just as similar as possible to the original small version. So let's seal it. Due to the fact that this is paper, not foil, it turned out not very smoothly, and so the final touch is the sticker. Finally, after 4 days of hard work, our giant Ferrero Rocher candy weighing 100 kilograms is ready. I feel like it turned out really well. I calculated its cost. Taking into account of all the additional purchases, it turned out to be $940. Let's cut off a piece. Hey everybody! Today we decided to cook a giant Skittle. Let's open the packet and see what it's made of. Inside there are a bunch of small candies. If we crush them, it becomes clear that there is a candy coating around a soft, chewy inside. Now let's buy everything we need to cook a giant Skittles. First up, you'll need a lot of sugar, a box of oil. We go to the produce section, and we take out quite a lot of lemons. We choose the largest and ripest watermelons and put them in the cart. We'll need a total of 7 watermelons. We pull up to the checkout with 2 carts full. We unload them. Our check came out to $162. In addition to this, we bought another 30 kilograms of glucose syrup. To make it easier to work with, we'll pour it into a large saucepan. I ordered something special for this video. These are semicircles made out of acrylic. They will serve as our huge Skittles mold. We fill the mold with oil and smear it around with a brush. Let's unroll the parchment paper. We make pretty deep cuts along the edges and carefully put it inside the mold. Thanks to the oil, the parchment sticks well to the mold. That way we cover up all the inside of the semicircle. Done! It turned out great. Now we put the saucepan on the scales. We put 150 grams of glucose syrup into it. And pour 350 grams of sugar into that. Now we pour in 100 milliliters of water. We put all this on the stove and cook the syrup. Be sure to use a thermometer. We need to wait until the temperature reaches 147 degrees Celsius. Done. Now let's squeeze a little purple food dye into a teaspoon and mix it into our candy coating. The acrylic molds don't really like changes in temperature, so to heat them up, we'll turn on really hot water and fill a bath. We lower the mold into the water, and only now do we pour in the candy coating. Yes, we'll be filling the mold for a long time, so we decided to make a double portion. So we'll be doing 2 equal saucepans at once. Put it on the stove. We cook up the mixture and add in the food coloring. Let's send the second mold into the bath. Pour the coating along the walls. Well, we cooked and molded the coating for 7 hours. At some point, it began to set crookedly. I had to gradually cover everything up. We returned the molds to the studio. We've already made the outer layer for the candy. Now all we need to do is make the insides. There are many different Skittles flavors. We decided to come up with our own, watermelon. To help out with this, we have a hefty mechanical press. We transfer the watermelons to the sink and wash them thoroughly. We put the clean watermelons in a huge bowl. We install a trough under the press and put a metal barrel on top. We take a watermelon, cut off the end, and then do the same to the other side. We prop it up vertically and remove the entirety of the green peel. Now all we have is the pulp. We throw it into the barrel. Cover the top of the metal disc. Take another watermelon and clean it the same way. We send this to the barrel too, and cover it as well. In advance, we substitute a 20-liter empty cylinder at the bottom and put a funnel into it. We begin to turn the screw. We make sure that it enters the groove of the metal disc. The juice is squeezed out very evenly. It goes into the trough and drains down into the container. We twist the press with all our might. 2 watermelons didn't give us enough juice, so we decided to peel 3 watermelons at once, then cut each of them into pieces. We load them into the barrel and covering them with metal discs. Squeeze out the juice. We clean another watermelon. Squeeze the juice out of it too. Now we have almost a full container, but I want my Skittles to be sour. Let's squeeze the juice out of the lemons as well. First, we roll them with our hands on the table to loosen up the insides. Then we cut and squeeze the juice using our hands. All the juice will be sent through a sieve into the container. By the time we get to the studio, the juice has separated, and the red part was at the bottom. We decided to try it, and the taste hasn't really changed at all. I mean, real watermelon juice can be transparent. We shake the container well, and the color comes back. For the inside of the candy, we need 4 pots. We pour 150 milliliters of watermelon juice into each of them. Then 200 grams of glucose syrup, and 300 grams of sugar into each. We put all this onto the stove. Be sure to put a thermometer in one of the pots. The candy is boiling and you can't touch it at all. Just wait until it reaches 123 degrees. Open the butter. We cut it into small pieces. And one by one, send it into the pots. along with a teaspoon of white dye. Now we mix it up. The candy is ready. Just have to pour it into the molds. Oh, you have no idea how long we've been cooking all this. A day and a half. Finally, the molds are completely filled. Only a day later, the caramel completely cools down and becomes the desired soft consistency. Using a knife, we chip off the uneven edges of the candy. One half is covered with parchment. We put a board on top and turn it over. We remove the mold. Tear off the parchment. And turn over our candy half. The same should be done with the second one. Now, the most dangerous thing is to attach the two halves to each other. Then the worst thing imaginable happened. One half slipped and we heard a crunch, which really scared us. We were trying to connect the two halves, so we tear off the parchment and see the candy coating has split. We were really upset. Well, what can you do? We tried to at least save the filling. We transfer it into the mold. We'll have to redo the candy coating, but this time we'll do it differently. Again, we cover the mold with parchment. In the middle, we put a ring pasted with parchment. With the help of a hairdryer, we thoroughly warm up the mold. We cook the purple coating again, but something really scary happened here. At some point, the hot candy exploded with such a force that it knocked off the grate, splattered the ceiling, half of the studio, and got on my face. With serious burns and eye injuries, I was taken to the hospital by ambulance. If you want to see how my face looks now, then follow the link in the description to my Instagram. I should say right away, this isn't for the faint of heart. While I'm recovering, my dad will finish the Skittle. He pours the purple candy down the walls of the mold. He files the uneven edges. And turns it over to empty the mold. Then he tears off the parchment and takes out the ring in the middle. The edges of the lower half are now coated with the hot candy mixture. Now we connect the two halves very carefully and gently. Once again, we go around, connecting them at the crease. We take all the filling we managed to save. Using a knife, we cut off pieces from it. We fill our Skittle to the brim. And close it off from above. The joint is filled with the mixture. We just cut off the excess with a knife. Using a burner, we warm up our Skittle from the outside to melt small chips and sugary crumbs. On a piece of parchment, we draw the S logo. Now we melt white chocolate in a steam bath and fill it into a regular syringe. With its help, we first draw the outline of the letter, then fill in the inside. We wait for the chocolate to harden and transfer it to the candy. That's it! Our giant Skittle is finally ready. We spent a lot of money, time, and most of all, health on this experiment. If my dad hadn't helped me, we probably would have never finished this video. Our Skittle weighs in at 78 kilograms. Let's smash it. We'll try both parts at once, the candy coating and the filling. That's a really nice candy. Just as sweet as the original. And it has a nice watermelon aftertaste. If this video gets 250,000 likes, then we'll figure out a new way to surprise you. Subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you guys soon.